Good afternoon, cult members. Welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is going to be our non-spoiler review for Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan that actually showed this weekend on Amazon Prime.
Right.
Now, we've been pretty hit and miss on new series that have come out on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, that kind of stuff. But this was one of the ones that kind of got our attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of it was because of John Krasinski, who did Quiet Place.
And The Office.
And The Office. And then we got a message from one of our cult members, Stefan, who lives in the Midwest. And he said, you have to watch the show. And so we sat down and we're like, okay, cool. We'll watch the show. And it was 8 episodes.
Yep.
On Hulu, or on Amazon Prime. Sorry, Amazon Prime. And 8 episodes, and each episode was 45 to 53 minutes, except for the premiere, which was like 102, or an hour and 2 minutes. And we sat down and watched it, and I'm really impressed with what they did with this series.
Yeah, it totally could have lasted longer. I'd have been okay. I like the spy thriller.
I love the spy stuff, and we've talked about it on this show before, about how we both feel that a shorter series is better than a longer series.
Yeah.
But this particular one was going to go against the trend for what we normally say. We could have used 2 more episodes.
Yeah. It felt like maybe at the end it wrapped up a little quickly. I just selfishly wanted more.
Right. No. The Tom Clancy Jack Ryan series via the books is, whatever, billions of pages of books, right? Yeah. And I've never read any of them.
I haven't read any of them. It's just the movies.
The movies and stuff like that. And it's been played by multiple characters: Harrison Ford, Chris Pine, that kind of stuff. But the general idea of the Jack Ryan series is you have a guy who's a desk guy who used to be in the field as a Marine or a Navy SEAL or whatever, who becomes a desk guy, who kind of gets sucked back into being out in the field as working for the CIA.
Yep.
And that's essentially what happens in this series, except they modernized it to deal with the Middle Eastern terrorist attacks and stuff like that, and ramifications of drone attacks and the ramifications of supplying terrorists with weapons and stuff, that kind of stuff. It's essentially how I saw this series.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the subject matter itself? Did it make sense within the confines of how they had set up the universe?
Yeah, so there was a couple of times where we were like, where are they going with this? Because they would do something, ultimately what happens in the end is shown to you in the beginning, but you don't understand. You have no point of reference for what you're being shown, so you're like, okay, what does that mean? So that was, I wouldn't say frustrating.
Could be confusing. It got confusing until you got towards the end and we were able to understand all this stuff.
It's better when you binge it than if you had watched it over 8 weeks or whatever. You'd have totally forgotten what you saw 8 weeks ago.
Right. This was a setup to be binged show.
Yeah.
Not a week by week kind of episodic television.
And the little sub-story with the drone guy was a little weird. I don't understand.
That was the one part of the series where I was like, this is more of a political kind of statement than it was a...
I just don't understand.
Sense with the story. The rest
it
of the
had
story.
Nothing to do... Well, we're like, okay, now he's going to go run into this person, or he's going to inadvertently kill this person. There was all these things we were trying to kind of come up with, and he really didn't have anything to do with the story.
He was kind of the conscience of the story. He was kind of the conscience of the ramifications.
I think Jack Ryan is the conscience of the story.
Overall, Jack Ryan is the conscience of the plot line of the story. But I think of the narrative that they're trying to tell in the story, the drone operator is the guy who is, if we randomly attack drone-wise, some little village, some kid's going to grow up and be a terrorist. And that's kind of how I always felt that his character was. And I'm not saying that takes away from the series and how it was done, but I just thought that that's kind of how he was.
Okay. I just didn't really think it had anything to do with the rest of
the story itself, though. I feel like the way they set up the story is two kids in a small village, and their village kind of gets destroyed, and then they become adults, but they become adults in France. And then one of the two brothers goes to prison and kind of gets, they don't really say it, but he gets radicalized while he's in prison.
Right.
And
but no spoilers.
No, it's not spoilers. It's not a spoiler. I mean,
right.
But then they go from there, and kind of the story is how they kind of, what they do with the radicalization of that.
Yeah.
And
it's not really a new story. I mean,
it's been told several times. Using characters from the Tom Clancy novels, though, and adding them within this story arc kind of updates the story, the Tom Clancy stories itself.
Yeah.
Performance-wise, John Krasinski is pretty awesome. I mean, he's a pretty good actor as it is.
He's a different Jack Ryan because he's like, Chris Pine was sort of accidental, but not super conscientious, just more like, I don't know what I'm doing, almost, right? Because he was like, what do you want me to do with this gun? And why is there a dead person in my bathtub? And then Harrison Ford was just,
he was the action star version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a little more believable in the, yes, he used to do this, and now he's just trying to sit at a desk and pretend that he didn't do that. John Krasinski is, you believe he's an analyst. You really believe he's an analyst.
Yeah.
And so you have
like we said, he's the conscience of the show.
Yeah, but
multiple times.
You have a little bit harder time believing that he was the badass on the other side.
Right. Yeah. He was kind of reluctantly kind of in the field at times.
Yeah, they didn't portray him as like this one-man killing show or anything. He was he was a Marine, and some shit went down, and now he just wants to sit at a desk.
The one thing I did appreciate with the series is that he sometimes with the Jack Ryan stuff, the character Jack Ryan can be superhero-y. He can do stuff. He's perfect aim, and he's able to dodge bullets and that kind of things. In this series, his character he took damage, and he had a conscience, and he questioned decisions. And, and I love that kind of realism to his character.
Yeah.
But the standout period end all of this series was Weldon Pierce, who played James Greer, who becomes the kind of the head of the group at Langley. He was a field guy, OPSEC guy, who got demoted back to Langley, and Weldon Pierce is a lifetime character TV actor. He's been in The Wire and just a ton of different things, but we know him as the FBI agent from Hackers.
Yeah.
Of all places, and he was straight out the best part of the whole series.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He never fell into that trope. I mean, he walked the fine line between I'm an asshole that got demoted and kind of the buddy boss, and
yeah
he like, I'm gonna kick you in the pants and make you do this, and he was awesome.
Or once you convince me that what you're saying, Jack, that is correct, I'm going to back you 1,000% in front of everybody, including the president.
Yeah.
So, and I love that kind of aspect of, you proved it to me, and I'm now gonna go forward and be your guy.
He wasn't just an asshole all the time.
Right. He was an asshole for asshole's sake, which is the storyline sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Overall, for the series, like we said, it's completely bingeable. It's like I said, it's maybe like a 7.5 hour sit down or whatever.
We watched like 4 episodes last night and 4 episodes today.
Yeah, and it came out on Friday, and so it's been totally worth the watch. Overall, as a score for a series.
Oh wow.
Sorry, did I test you here?
Well, yeah, I didn't know we were going to give it a score.
Hey, we're giving it a score. If you read the pre-show notes,
there were pre-show notes. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I just really think they spent some time and some money on it.
3.5 again. I love the fact that they spent money on this. Amazon Prime spent money on this show.
Yeah.
They shot on location a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the intimate kind of stuff could have been shot on location, but the big scope stuff was shot in Paris, in Yemen, or at least something that resembled Yemen or Turkey or whatever.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job with all of that. They spent a lot of money on the cast. Ali Solomon, who plays Solomon in the series, he's the kind of the big bad. He was really good too.
Yep.
And a lot of the actors that they brought in put forth the effort. I think that 3.5 makes a lot of sense. And I would watch a season 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would be very interested in see what they go.
Yep.
They kind of left it open for a season 2, so I'm interested to see what they.
It's like 24 or whatever. There's a new thing.
Right.
It's a new bad guy.
Right, and I would the bad guy they set up with the political world that we currently live in within the United States could be very touchy and very interesting.
Yeah.
So that's our thoughts on Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan from Amazon Prime. What did you guys think? Let us know. Leave us a comment. Like this video, obviously. And while you're here, I mean, if you've already watched this long, might as well subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and you can get a hold of us on our social media network. We're PopCultureCult on Facebook, PopCultureCult1 on Instagram, at @pop_cult1 on Twitter. We're also on the Stardust app. Download it for free. Follow us first, and you get to react to everything you're watching. We probably should do a Stardust for this when we get done.
Maybe.
On episode at least 8. And until the next time, good afternoon now.